I'm Courtney.
And I'm Emily, and this is
Cheers
Cheers
to
to
that.
That.
Welcome back, everybody.
Whoop, whoop. We've lived a lot of life in the last week.
I've lived a lot of life just today.
Same.
Today was probably
Same.
one of the longest Mondays I've had in a while because I've
It was
been.
your first day to
Yes,
work.
it was my first day at work. Everything went really well. My trainings were easy and not a lot of trainings. It was a very long day though, just because of that. And then I took the kids to their first survival swim lesson, and
Yes.
that is very emotionally draining. But on the way back, because I was trying to find the silver lining in it, because I'm like, God, like this is hard. It's hard
It's
watching
rough.
your kids. Oh, well, one of them. Addie did just fine, but it was hard watching Tucker cry in the pool.
It's rough.
And I reminded myself though, this is why I got this job, is because
Mm-hmm.
I was able to get done with my meeting, and then we rushed off to
Yep.
drive 45 minutes to these swim
Mm-hmm.
lessons, and I was able to be there for them
Yep.
for that.
Because
And
you wouldn't
so,
be if you were in a traditional teaching job. So
exactly.
it's a big deal. Yeah. So the swim lessons that Tucker is doing, I've taken fielding to do those last 2 years. And we did them at the beginning of summer, I think.
Hmm.
And I told you before we started recording, like by Wednesday, you will want to literally quit.
Yeah.
Wednesday is like, and maybe it's a different day for you. We'll see. Wednesday's always my breaking point where I'm like, I literally can't anymore,
Hmm.
and we're not going. And then
Yeah.
by Friday, I am paying a deposit for the following year
Yeah.
because what you see is so amazing and rewarding, and it really does give them the confidence around the water, but also they learn parameters of water safety that are
Well, and
so
that's what I
important.
told the instructor today. I said, I actually want Tucker to be afraid of the water a little bit,
Yeah,
enough where he doesn't try to go down to the bottom of the pool, literally
smiling
smiling.
every
Like
time.
he would drown and smile the whole time
Mhm.
because he loves water that much. And so I just want
Loves
him to
it.
be aware
Yeah.
of his surroundings. And then with Addie, it's like, it's a 30-minute lesson, and she already learned how to flip over onto her back, and then she's able to literally swim on her back to the edge of the pool. And on the way home, Addie was asking, like, why do I have to do these? And I flat out told her, I said, because I would not be able to live with myself if I didn't do this for you, something that will keep you alive and
Yep.
keep you safe.
Yep.
And because she's old enough for me to explain, I said, if you're around a pool and you fall in, you could drown.
Mm-hmm.
So just that's
Yeah.
my day.
No,
I could go on and on about this
it's
apparently,
rough.
but yeah, I'm getting into the mindset of like our
It's seriously like what I've done the past 2 years when I'm in it is like, this is going to freaking suck. And I hate
Mhm.
every minute of it, but we're doing it. And it's
It's
just
worth
something
it.
you have to overcome.
Yeah.
And you are a mentally strong person as far as like having that discipline, like with workouts and things like that. And so think of this as a workout.
Well, I was laughing because we joke that I disassociate a lot. I'm like, now would be a grand time to disassociate in between my
You
kids.
won't. The good news is you won't remember any of these swim lessons next week. You'll trauma block them out so fast.
I will trauma block those.
And so, really, God bless. Like, it's going to be all right.
I'll be fine at the end of the
Well,
day.
I want to say that my Monday, I spent an hour and a half at Discount Tire today because we went to Colorado to visit my brother and my parents last weekend, and we got back last night. Yesterday morning, I got an alert on my phone because I'm super fancy and,
Mhm.
futuristic. So my Ford app was like, hey, girl, something's wrong. And I was like, oh, stop it. Nothing's really wrong. And I look, and my back passenger tire has 26 PSI when it's supposed to have 40.
Mm.
And so that means flat tire. And
At
Connor
the
and I, at
airport.
the airport parking lot, Connor and I are getting in at 10 o'clock at night. We don't have any family in town. We have y'all, but like, we're not going to make you get out of your bed at 10 o'clock at night and like come get us. And whenever we've got a car there, it was just like the logistics of it were very stressful for a second. Luckily, we were able to like get to a gas station and fill up the tire with air and then make it home.
Yeah.
But as soon as we pull up on the shuttle bus, Connor's like, I can see the nail. Like,
Oh
there's a
my
nail in the tire right there.
God. Which means you guys got it on the way and you
Yep.
didn't realize it though.
And Connor said if the nail had been facing down, like into the road, it
Mhm.
probably wouldn't have like deflated almost at all. It is what it is. They were able to patch it and plug it at Discount Tire, so I don't have to buy a whole new tire, which is great. But one thing I did learn is that most new cars don't come with spares, and that's something to
That's
look at.
concerning.
Yeah, I know it's
How am I
crazy.
supposed to change my tire on the side of the road when I
There's No
I've
chance.
I've attempted it once, and then
I was gonna say there's no way
I've
you know.
attempted it once, and then I called my uncle and said, "Please come get me and change the tire for me." And then the second time, I blew out my tire because the roads in Oklahoma are just horrible, and like I accidentally like went off the road for a second, like just a little
That
bump,
doesn't sound like a road
and
problem. Go ahead.
and I had a flat tire, and so I called Tyler, and I had this is my cousin that I grew up with. And I was FaceTiming. I'm like, okay, tell me what to do. And I couldn't get it. And so I was like, please just come over and get this done before Matt gets
The
home.
mental image of you changing a tire,
I tried. I
I
attempted
literally
it,
can't
but it was
imagine.
not successful.
I've never changed a tire, but in theory, I know how to do it. Now, physically doing it,
I almost just spit out my
LOL.
coffee. You said, in theory, I know how to do it.
In
I
theory,
just don't know how to do
no,
it.
no, 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 no,
Just kidding.
bitch.
I'm just
I'm
kidding.
saying, in theory, I know how to do it. Physically, loosening lug nuts, probably not
No,
going to
and
happen.
that
Probably
was the
not gonna
problem.
happen.
That was the problem.
But
The
fun
lug
fact, I do
nuts.
know how to change oil, and I used to change the oil on our
Yeah.
big diesel truck when we lived in Louisiana.
Hey, look at you.
Dun, 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 dun.
Sign
Yeah.
you up at the car dealership.
Yeah, get the
next, I
banjos
mean.
playing. It's like deliverance in here. Yeah, so anyways, that was annoying. Also when we're in line, I haven't told you this full story yet. When we're in line at the airport to come back from Denver, we check in. We've driven 30 minutes from where my parents are staying to get there, and we're in line in this huge, crazy long security line. But Connor looks to get our boarding passes out on his phone, and he goes, "My boarding pass isn't here." And we were like, "What?" And he's like, "It's just you and Fielding. Like, I can't find my own."
Oh.
So then he goes back and looks, and they canceled his flight.
Oh.
Not a separate flight. They canceled his ticket on the flight. So we're like,
That
"What?
doesn't make
What's
any
going on? What's going
sense.
on?" They refunded the charge already just for his ticket.
Do you know how hard it is to get a refund from airlines most of
No,
the
so
time? Are
Connor
you
and I are
kidding
like,
me?
"What?" And so thank God, the flight was not sold out
What would you have
because
done if it was
I
though?
literally don't know.
And why did they give you a reason for
No.
it?
Well, so we didn't stop at Frontier because we already had our tickets and we had the boat boarding passes. So we were in line for TSA. So we didn't even have anyone to talk to about it.
Oh my god.
So that's why we were like, holy crap. And we were already halfway through this giant security line. So we're like, we can't go back
No.
all the way upstairs, all the
Nightmare.
way in the
With
Denver
a kid.
and the Denver
And
airport,
no, the Denver airport
300
is
miles long.
the worst airport I've ever been in.
It is the worst
And
airport
someone
I've
said
ever
I
been
think
to.
like Atlanta maybe is
I
another
hate the Atlanta airport
bad
too. It's
one.
huge and
But
it's
I
so
didn't
crowded.
like Denver, and it was always the
Yes.
TS. Always, I've been there once. The one time I've been there.
Every
Every time
time.
I've flown first class in my private jet.
Why would there be a first class in your private jet? There'd only be one. There'd only be one level of passenger.
I create my first class.
Okay.
I'm the first class passenger princess.
There you
But
go. There you go.
anyways, the one time I was in Denver, yes, the lines were
Terrible.
horrible.
Horrible. So Connor was able to buy a ticket while we were in line in
God.
security. Connor does not get stressed about much. He is
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
pouring sweat. He's like, whew, that made me real nervous.
I bet he got real quiet too when he was like
Oh my
trying to
God.
buy the
well,
ticket.
and then Fielding's like freaking out. We brought the stroller this time. Thank God. Great. I advise a stroller for the rest of my life with flying with littles.
When you brought it up, I said, yeah, you should bring it. Like,
yeah, because
I
we
think for
didn't
this
to go to
flight.
Michigan because he doesn't like being in the stroller at all. But getting him, what he also doesn't like doing is following directions. And
What
so
are the other
therefore,
buddies?
yeah, you're getting strapped down, my
Yeah.
dog, and we're going. So and
It's the leash or the stroller. Take your
the
pick.
leash doesn't work. He will be drugged. He will allow himself to be drugged. The opposition of defiance runs so incredibly deep. I can't express it.
And the
enough.
stroller, you think, would be just a walk in the park for him. He
Well,
doesn't have to do anything.
No, but
gets to
he
ride.
does get pissed. He doesn't like being buckled in anything right now. He was getting mad on the plane about the
Yeah.
seatbelt. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude.
Addie went through a phase where it seemed like she was claustrophobic almost.
Yes.
Like she would get into panic mode over
I think
it.
he's entering that. And it's not a delight.
No.
I'm not enjoying myself.
Yeah.
But he did really well on the plane going there. He slept almost the entire time. Coming back, did not sleep a wink.
Yeah.
Only freaked out minimally. He really did okay.
But y'all were flying late, so when you guys got back home, did he fall asleep pretty quickly?
He fell asleep almost as soon as we got in the car. Which is not good because
because then it re-energized him.
Well, that, but also I'm psychotic about showers. Like no one is getting in my bed without a shower.
Especially after an airport, though. Flying.
You are not putting your airport body
no
and airport plane. What? Airplane body in my bed.
No, it's so gross.
And
Think
he's
of all the germs.
been writhing around on the floor. You know, he's been all over the floor, everywhere, in the airport, on the plane.
So non-negotiable.
No, you're
bath time.
You're getting a shower, homie.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
we woke him up for a shower. He went to sleep, and then we slept till 10 o'clock this morning.
Amazing. Love that.
Beautiful. That sleep is sponsored by Benadryl.
Yeah. Amazing.
And thank God. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
good trip visiting my family.
I do have a question for you.
Okay.
What is your current favorite fashion trend that's out there right now?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And just for the record, this is my first question to her because I literally thought of this randomly, and I'm like, this is a question I would ask you every day, so I saved it for the podcast because I was like, I wanted to know,
we talked
like,
about
what's
this
your favorite
a
trend?
little bit beforehand, and I thought that you were going to ask me a question about our topic. So now I understand because I actually don't have a random question for you. So this is great. We can, kind of tennis volley this back and forth.
Change it up.
Okay, my favorite fashion trend right now is definitely not ballet flats being a thing.
Yeah, take me back to 07.
Like my feet have gone through enough with the stench of ballet flats.
It's like the Tom shoes. Do you remember the
Toms?
Yes.
That
My aunt
smell,
banned me from.
No, I can
those.
smell that smell. I can call it to memory. So no, take the ballet flats and get them away from me. I think honestly, maybe just because it's what I have on my head right now, but I'm really enjoying like a slick back big earrings moment because one, for the curly haired ladies like myself who have to completely shower to get their hair to look not ridiculous. Really, really easy, very chic. Makes me feel very put together.
Yes. No, I love that. A gold earring with a slick back
pony. Love a gold earring.
Love it.
I think that's all I can think of. Fashion trends. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, if you can't tell from my outfit, can you
Is
guess
yours
mine?
rompers?
Denim
hats. Oh, trucker hats.
No, so not
okay.
yes, trucker hats.
Okay.
Sorry, but I was going back to the rompers. No, it's the denim, just the denim trend. Like I love
you are
denim.
You are a denim girl, and I don't like the feeling of denim. It's too confining for me, and I need to be free. You will barely ever catch me in denim. Your full denim outfit, if you're not watching this, you're just listening. Courtney's wearing a denim romper, which is so cute. You look amazing. I've seen them. I've thought about buying them. I've tried them on. I cannot do it.
Oh, I love it.
I feel confined.
Give me denim all day, every day.
No, you look
denim
so
on
cute.
denim now, but along those lines as well, I am loving the trucker hat trend, which I've loved all summer.
Yeah. But it looks so cute how you wear it with your hair down.
Thanks. Yeah, if I wear it up. So here's the problem with trucker hats. Like this one is a little bit different because it's taller, and I'm not used to that. My Morgan Wallen one is a little bit shorter, and I do feel like I can pull off like a pony with that one. With it being so high, I think it would look really weird if I wore a ponytail.
Maybe. I don't know. I just like it so much with your hair down. I don't want you to change anything.
Yeah. Well,
and I couldn't do that because my ears would poke out, and I would look like the vampire Nosferatu because I don't have any hair.
I mean, I definitely have to like be conscientious of my ears poking out in this trucker hat, but I'm glad to know, slick back pony. So our favorite trends are literally what we're wearing and doing right now.
That is correct.
We stand by our opinions around here.
And as I will say, this is more of a beauty trend, but as a, current and forever hairstylist and a consumer myself, thank God for balayage. I'm so grateful that
it's been around for years now. I mean,
it's been around for a long time.
Like, that it hasn't went out
and
of
I'm
style.
just praying that we don't go back to like light highlights on the scalp as much. Like I've got some clients that I still have that are closer to natural blonde and they get highlights in.
That makes sense.
And that looks good to me. But no. Even like what's funny is when we met I was blonde.
Yes.
And when I got married I was blonde. And I went across a picture the other day and I'm just like, it was so much upkeep.
It washed you out though too. Like you having darker hair, like it just enhances your features somehow.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying it that way. I'm really glad I got married with that hair.
That is not what I meant.
So
that is not what I
hot
meant.
take, I looked like shit at my wedding. I know, I'm just kidding.
Looking back at pictures, and it's probably because you looked younger too, though. Like you were younger at the time, is what I mean.
Well, I think that
so it matched that face.
When I was blonde, if I was also pale, ghost town. I had to have a tan, and the thing about me is I don't go outdoors, so I'm always pale. Don't I look kind of tan right now?
Your face definitely has some color to it. Yeah, I like.
Does it not match my body?
And your arms and legs too. Yeah. Yes, you have a tan. You have a tan.
How hard is it to compliment me for you?
No, it's not hard.
Courtney's been attacking me since she walked in the door.
I've been attacking you.
She's been attacking me.
Oh my God, the drama.
Well, so we have a babysitter because the guys are gone. And I told her, sorry, my house looks this way. And then I was like joking, like, because my house usually looks so much better than this. Ha ha ha. And then Courtney goes, no, it actually looks better than usual. And I was like,
No, it looks good. I
you
walked
bitch.
in and the first thing I noticed was how picked up it was. That's a compliment.
My kitchen looks like a tornado.
I looked at your living room and it looked so nice, but Matt will say the same thing. I'm not good at receiving compliments and I'm not good at giving them. So I apologize for
should we have
the disparity
Are
that
you mad at me?
Are you mad at me?
No, but I thought you were. But I thought you were mad.
Why did you think I
thought you were mad earlier whenever I said I'm almost ready and you said okay, and I was like,
No,
I have anxiety.
Sorry, no, I was on my phone. I wasn't paying attention to you, which is arguably worse.
No, you being mad at me is way worse.
I'm sorry that you thought that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I knew it was more internalized. I was like, she's not mad. But I was like, I'm not ready whenever she got here, and so she's mad at me.
No. I was just like, okay. And I was doing something on my phone.
Not to peek into our
I was probably
friendship.
checking at my TikTok that has like 50 views.
Oh, not to brag, I posted a TikTok earlier that I was like, this is the one.
I saw it. Super cute.
Thanks. 2 views. So
why does TikTok do this to
cool.
us? TikTok hates us. Hates our personal accounts.
It hates all of our accounts. What are you talking about? You're acting like the Cheers to That account's popping off.
I mean, it's better than my 50 views.
It's really hurting my feelings, honestly. Like, what did we do for TikTok? Amazon affiliate links won't approve me.
Yeah.
They keep rejecting me.
Yeah.
We want to do an Amazon affiliate link so that we can like link our wine glasses we usually use, or like if we buy clothes through Amazon or whatever, just because like, for our 10 people that are watching, like they can shop our stuff.
Yes.
And of course I'd love to make like 1% commission off of it.
Yeah.
If
Give me $1, please.
If I can, I'm advertising. Rejected. So whatever.
I don't really understand how all of this influencer stuff works, but
I'm just out here trying to make a dollar bill.
I have some great news.
Yes, what is it?
I finished The Assassin's Blade. I finished the book. It was so good. I texted you right after.
I know, so excited.
About how much I loved it. So I'm really excited because I'm going to not watch. I was just thinking about how I had to watch TV last night because I didn't have the book.
Feels like a movie though when you're watching it because it's so vivid.
No, it is.
Courtney,
so good.
I'm so excited for you to be on this journey. I'm
starting Throne of Glass.
Yes.
Like that's the one that I'm picking up from our personal library.
Yes.
And I'm very, very excited. As far as watching though, so I wanted to tell you, we are almost to the end of season 1 of House of Dragon.
Oh yeah.
We are on the last episode, but like it was so late last night and Matt had to get up early and he's
like, wait, y'all didn't finish the last episode?
No, we got 30 minutes in and there was 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, it's so long, but you're about to have your world rocked.
Well, and Matt's out of town all week, and so I can't watch it until he gets back.
Tell him to watch it on his damn phone. No, honestly,
I want to watch it together.
I want to be there when you watch it because you're not ready for the end.
This of season 1,
yes.
The one that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You're not ready.
I was already not ready for the. Episode 9, I guess. So, been watching that, and then Your Honor. I'm almost done with that.
Season 2?
Yes, I'm close.
Is it done after season 2?
Good question. I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know. But
I mean, I would have looked up any future plans.
And I'm like,
have they done like what's the thing, like a picture board where they're like planning out the scenes?
I do like to know though if like once I get to the end of a show, then I will look up the information on if it's being renewed.
I hate to invest in a show that's not going to be finished.
Yeah.
Which I just saw that I'd been thinking about watching the Amy Schumer, and I cannot think of what his name is, Michael something, show called Life and Beth because it looked really funny. It's on Hulu.
Yeah, I haven't heard
It got canceled after the second season, and now I don't want to invest in it.
Well, and if it's not a limited series, then it just you're on a cliffhanger. There's no point. And what a failure for that show.
Literally.
Because no one is going to watch it.
I know.
If they know it's failed. It's canceled.
I watched Baby Driver also this weekend.
Oh, that's a good one. I haven't watched it
that's
in a
one
while.
of those that if I put it on, I was trying to read my book and like ignore the TV, but I get so drawn into it because the directing is just phenomenal. It's such a smooth movie. The music is so good with it. Like, what a beautiful piece of work. And how annoying is it that Kevin Spacey and Ansel Elgort have both been accused of sexual misconduct?
Oh,
the lead characters of that movie. Yes. And so therefore
they conspired.
I ask, why? Why must you ruin things?
Because it is a good movie.
I know, it really hurts me. But sometimes you gotta separate the art from the artist, I suppose.
Just like so I went to my concert this weekend,
Yes, that's where your
which
hat's
is
from.
where my hat is from. It says
What
Godspeed on
why
it.
does it say Godspeed?
It's one of his good songs that
Oh,
he has.
is it
So,
new?
no, it's actually from like 2 or 3 albums back.
Oh, yeah, I totally knew that.
No, that's okay. I
I literally
mean,
don't know this at all, and I listen to Zach Bryan, so I'm
yeah,
confused.
it's I'm living at Godspeed.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll make
Can
you
you
listen
just
to
sing
it
it for him? I'm
after.
just
I wanted to attempt, and then I was like, nah, girl, nah.
kidding.
Rein it back in, rein it back in. So let me tell you about this concert real quick.
Please.
I'm gonna give myself 5 minutes tops. So skip ahead if you don't want to hear about how amazing Zach Bryan was. I honestly didn't know what to expect.
Yeah,
I've seen some TikToks about him,
yeah.
but after we went to Taylor Swift, completely amazing.
So
Morgan Wallen, pretty, honestly, pretty
flop for
disappointing.
me.
Yeah, like it was okay. But the money that we spent
Mhm.
and everything that goes into it,
Yeah.
it just was like all right. And for Zach Bryan, I didn't want to have my hopes up too high
Yeah.
because everyone on TikTok is like loving to hate on him right now because he's kind of a dipshit on social media. Like he just is.
Well,
Um,
separate the art from the artist, buddy. That's what you gotta do.
exactly,
Oh, that was your segue.
exactly.
Sorry, I forgot.
No, that's okay. No, you brought it back for me. Thank you. But the talent that this man has
Mhm.
to put on a performance and like I guess I didn't know what to expect because he does have like what you feel like are all slow songs. So you're like, oh,
Yeah.
is this going to be fun? What's this going to look like?
They're so
No,
good.
the energy he brings into a room
Oh my god.
is crazy. I was talking to Matt about this because Taylor Swift is obviously number one because of like her production, her outfits, her scenery changes everything,
Mhm.
right? Like, obviously,
Yeah.
tops it. He is the second best concert I've ever been to. And I've seen
A
George Strait,
lot.
I've seen Tim McGraw, I've seen
Wow.
a lot of good artists. And it was just crazy. He invited like this kid up, like 15, 16 years
I
old,
love when they invite
because
kids.
he had a sign that said, like, invite me up to play Headed South. He played it on the guitar. This kid gets up there.
I'm literally
His
gonna
arm
cry.
is shaking so bad
I'm gonna
because he's so
cry.
nervous. No, it was the most
That's so
wholesome thing
beautiful.
I've ever
I have
seen.
chills.
And his voice, like, number one, like, I mean, it was like rocky because he was so nervous. And I thought he did a great
Buddy.
job, like, keeping the tune and stuff. Well, someone tagged him in a TikTok that because someone had posted like find this kid blah blah
Yeah.
blah, tagged his TikTok. He's actually very talented and like does all of these covers.
Baby.
He got the guitar from Zach Bryan like after he left the stage. It was one of the best things I've ever seen at a concert.
That's one of those things as a
So good.
parent, like those things I would have like felt emotional about before a kid. Now that I have a kid, imagining
Mhm.
like your son,
Yes.
like the dream is
I
that your kid gets
know.
to get on stage with
And
this
he
famous
got up
person.
and you're singing in front of what 30,000 people
You
for
have
your first
chills.
time performing. Are you kidding me? It was so good.
It's so
No.
beautiful.
And then not to spoil anything, but he spoiler alert. So he played one of his last songs, Quittin' Time, which is it's the
Uh-huh.
Quittin' Time tour. He walks off and everyone kind of just like stops. We're looking around like, wait, what's happening? Like
Mhm.
he's supposed to play Revival. That is the last song. I do
Yeah.
know that from TikTok. He comes back out like 5 minutes later, walks around, goes to the other end of the stage. They have a whole other stage set up. He plays Revival, ends up being like a 10-minute song because he introduces all of his band
I
members.
love that.
And then like our friends that were sitting there, and your sister was
Mhm.
actually really close to him too
Oh,
because she was
really?
in that section that got to see like the best view of
Awesome. Yeah.
the last song. And like you stopped and you could feel the whole stadium shaking because like of the energy. It is the best thing I've ever
I'm
experienced.
I'm
Like
feeling upset because I sold my tickets,
I
but you went
know.
with your sister, and I think honestly, I'm so glad y'all had fun. Like that's a
Thanks.
good
We definitely missed you guys, but I also knew you were having fun in Colorado
yeah.
too. So,
But that sounds
but
I
the
like
concert
I
was
love a good concert, and I
yes.
feel like I'm what's the word? Like I have PTSD from Morgan Wallen being so
Mhm.
shitty and like almost peeing myself in line to go to the bathroom. Not having drinks,
Yeah.
paying $3 million for food. I like have
Yeah.
fear of going to another concert and even wasting my time. And so I'm so glad it was such a positive experience. It gives me hope for
I
the
will
future.
say though, I just think openers are just not worth like anyone's time.
Oh
You
my
know what?
God, seriously.
One of the openers was though? Jason Isbell,
I don't know
who
who that is.
sang he wrote the original Cover Me Up song for Morgan Wallen. Yes, and
Really?
so that's how he got big all of a
Hmm.
sudden because people found that out.
Mhm.
He was so boring. Like if he makes it big and then I'm a bandwagon fan, like call me out, but
Well, I have never been to a show with an opener and thought, wow, an opener. Cool. Even the Taylor Swift song or Taylor Swift
We didn't know
concert.
who they were, and those girls in
Bee boo
front of
da
us
ba
were
dee boo.
literally, like, crying,
Oh,
remember?
yeah, I
Because
forgot
they
about that.
knew who she
And we
was
were
from
like, "Who is this
TikTok, and we were
bitch?"
so
It
old.
was
We
like
were like
ba doo ba dee
I had
ba.
no idea. I thought it was Sabrina Carpenter after we went, and you're like, "No, it wasn't
No, if it
Sabrina
was Sabrina Carpenter, I
Carpenter."
would have been dancing a little more.
Well, I didn't know who
But
she was, though, at the time that we
true, true,
went.
true, true, true. Yeah, because we went to the Eras tour very early in it. But yeah, no. Let's start a movement. Cancel openers. Sorry, openers.
Well, he
Get
didn't
out.
get on until so it started at 7, and he didn't get on until 9 because of the openers.
What makes me
But
so
then the 2
angry?
hours he played, like, completely
Yeah.
worth it. But let me just say, we won't be in a hurry next time to, like,
Well,
get
that's
to
my
the
thing. I'm like,
openers.
can you guys, which I know they don't do this intentionally so that you do see the openers. I'm like, can y'all just tell me when my actual person's going to go on instead of
Literally.
holding me hostage
Yes,
at a
literally.
concert I don't want to be at?
And hoping that, and then I have to go pee like 3 times before
Yes.
so you don't miss the actual concert.
So annoying. It pisses me off. Well, I'm so glad you had fun. I forgot my sister was there. Also, neither of you hosts sent me any snaps from this concert.
yeah, I didn't want to be annoying.
I would love
I
for you to be annoying. Actually, it's not.
I
It's not
posted
the
on my
same.
Instagram the next day, so I was still annoying just to the masses
You
instead
didn't
of
want to
just
be
you.
annoying to me.
Yeah, because then
Everybody
it's
else.
personal, you know? Just everyone else on my Instagram.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, we've probably been talking for 20 minutes
I
already.
know. Yeah,
What's new?
we gotta get started.
Well, our topic of the day that has been requested a couple times, and also the second most requested thing that has come across my desk is to interview the husbands.
Yeah.
We're working on it,
I
but
mean,
just
if
a
someone wants
reminder,
to donate some mics for
we
us,
are
that
the
would be great
stars.
because
Yeah, we're the stars.
oh yeah,
Why do
they
we need to
can't
include
they
them?
can't outstar us. But I was just worried about having enough microphones. I'm like, listen, I
Also
don't
that.
want to invest any more money into this.
No.
So
We're doing
sponsor us,
we're doing 2-on-1 mics.
Rode.
Good job.
Whoever we're using.
Great brand placement. But our topic today is talking about our birth stories. People wanted to know about pregnancy and birth. And I think this is coming from people that are currently expecting.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, messaging us about what to expect. And you've done it
Yeah.
twice. I've done it once. And it is just kind of a crazy thing. I feel like I drink too much and ask my brother every time, like, can you believe that I made a human? Like every time I see my brother, I ask him that. He's like, you always do this to me. Yes, I know you made a human. I'm like, no, but me,
Yes.
your sister, you know me.
Yeah, like he is my spawn.
I grew this person and it came out and is a human.
And he's like, please don't make me think about
no,
this.
I know. I'm like, it's crazy though. It's just like a crazy concept.
Yeah.
So we want to go in order of the children, right? So we'll do Addie, Fielding,
Great
Tucker.
idea.
And that's the chronological order of their birth. And
Yes.
Addie was our first tiny baby.
So yeah, her and I had a very easy pregnancy with her. Like it was a breeze. I ran up until don't recommend y'all. There's no reason to do this. I ran up until literally 8 months pregnant. Don't know why. Didn't do it with the second one. So but I was like
Yellow.
very active with her.
Yeah.
Because my body allowed that. Like the
Mhm.
way I carried her
Were you
was
sick with her at all?
No, I wasn't sick. I also carried very small with her.
Mhm.
When she was born, she was 5 pounds 10 ounces. And so like everything about her pregnancy with her was super easy. I also felt her kicks a lot because she was anterior.
I don't ever know what the
The
difference
one that
is.
faces out.
I think that's anterior. I
So,
think posterior is back. I
Yes,
don't know.
yes, yeah, You're right.
Let's ask my sisters who are both labor and delivery
They're
nurses.
gonna be like texting us.
They're gonna be
Nope,
like,
no.
you guys are morons. Anyways,
I don't
it's
know
fine.
what I was. I don't even know my blood type, to be honest. But
After 2 children, the fact that you don't know your blood type is crazy. Go ahead. That's crazy.
hope I never need a blood transfusion. So with Addie, I also had a doula, and honestly, I would highly recommend, like, if you're even wanting, you know what, any type of birth, I just think having someone there that is like outside of your family
Mhm.
is so helpful because they're able to emotionally connect and disconnect when they need to.
Yeah.
And so my doula like walked me through every step, and I ended up having Addie unmedicated. Also after having Tucker, we'll get to that. I don't know if I recommend that. I don't know. Like
But
I liked the experience of
Yeah.
it, and I'm glad that I did it, but like was it worth it? I don't know.
I think it's really cool though that you can say you've done both. I think that's really cool because
Yeah.
I think like I don't plan on having any more children, but I think like part of me is interested in the challenge of going unmedicated. But anyways, I just think it's cool that you've had both experiences and you can kind of think
Yes.
about and to be able to say you gave birth without drugs.
Yeah.
Superwoman.
Well, it's funny just because like I mean I can envision her birth like still like they say you forget, and you do a little bit after, and then you decide to have another kid, but, like, I think back to her birth, and I remember everything because it was so
Well, and it was
intense.
so fast and furious
It
because
was.
so one thing you didn't mention is that you were
Oh, yeah.
overdue by how many days? 9
A
days?
week and a half. I
Yeah,
was a week and a half overdue, and
so
if
longer than
you are
mine.
living in Texas, they won't let you do that. I was in Ohio, and I mean, I was in a very hippie area, like very naturalistic, and I think that the hospitals reflected that. And so they finally forced me to go ahead and get
But I also
pitocin, but they gave me
yes.
like literally the tiniest amount, and it kicked my
Your body
body.
was like, "We're ready to go," because
Yes,
you were low on amniotic fluid by the end. But I
yes,
think it's just so funny because looking at both your pregnancies, you were so much more relaxed with Tucker, and I think with Addie, you were like, "I'm going to run, I'm going to exercise, I'm going
yes.
to do
Oh,
XYZ.
yes.
I'm not gonna drink any caffeine, I'm not gonna have
I
any
was still
sugar."
kickboxing, like doing
Yeah,
all
and
the
I'm doing it
things.
unmedicated, and I will let my body go into labor naturally, and then with Tucker, you're like, "What's up, guys? Let's go. I'm drinking Coke, I don't care."
I
Like, you were
know.
and, like, not it's not bad, but I mean, I would say one difference, maybe anxiety medication,
Definitely
maybe,
helped me.
or but
Definitely
also
helped
age and
me.
experience, but it's just
Yes.
interesting, like, how different they were
Yes,
birth-wise.
very, very different. I mean, just an all in. I mean, like we said, within 6 hours. So once
Yeah.
they gave me Pitocin, within 6 hours, I had her. And, one thing that I can't say enough about is like the support that Matt gave me through
Mhm.
that. And like, if your partner, that's kind of their time to shine in a
Mhm.
way. And I know people have different, they have different, are they going to freeze or
Yeah, oh, like,
flight
response
or yes, they
mechanisms.
have different response mechanisms. Like mine, when Matt fell down the stairs, was to run. And so, if your partner isn't like this, oh, knight in shining armor.
Mhm.
That's probably their response mechanism. And like they might be
Yeah.
scared of that. But Matt is like so ready to jump into action. Like I think that if he could have another job, it would be to be like an EMT or
Yeah.
something because
Yeah.
he like just automatically does it. And so he literally caught Addie because he told the doctors, I'm catching my daughter. And
Yeah.
they said, okay. And they stepped back and they let him catch her.
Which we were
So.
shook about. That is wild. When you told me that, I was like, "It's what in the Ohio?" But it is amazing, and he, like, tells that story still, and one of my favorite things I think you told me, was whenever you were having Addie, you wanted water or something, and he was like, "Get her water now!" Like,
Yes,
screamed at someone, and I
I
was like,
literally just said,
"Matthew?"
water one time, and just because I was still even in labor, like, I was like, "Can I have some water, please? Like, I don't wanna be a bother." Like, just when
If
you
you
have a
have time.
chance, like, just when you have a chance. I know this water's gonna cost me $500 on my medical
Literally.
bill, but, like, just, whatever. No worries if not. And, Matt heard me say water one time, and he's like, "Nurse," pointed at her, "get her a water right now." And I was like, "Oh, okay.
Matt was not
Taking charge."
playing. Yeah, I know, I love it. Well, and both of our husbands are, I would say, relatively quiet. Especially
Yeah.
Connor, but, like, Matt too, like, is not gonna be,
He's
like,
not
bossy or
typically like
aggressive or
that,
anything like that, and he's
no.
like, "My baby mama is
Yes.
dehydrated, and you're
Get
gonna get
her
some
what
water."
she needs.
And then sweet little Addie, wasn't she, like, 17 inches long? She was
Yeah, she
so
was very, very
tiny.
like 17 and a quarter, 17 and a
Little
half.
baby.
And she was born at like right after noon. And so I would say like her birth for me, besides the unmedicated part, like looking back, it was easy.
Mhm.
And it makes you appreciate it a little bit more when you don't have an easy one.
Yeah,
Because even through all of that, it's like I got a healthy baby out of it. And so
absolutely.
I was very grateful. But
I will never forget your aunt Rosie was texting me while you were in labor because I was working my corporate job. I was in the
yes.
Galleria of Houston and trying to work and like do, my job, which was basically just being in spreadsheets all day. And I'm like so distracted. I'm like, and Rosie is texting me every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
She's at a 7. She's at an 8. She's at it. And I was like, oh my God, this
Because I
baby's
was
coming. It
going
was so
so,
quick.
so
And I remember
fast.
whenever she told me she was here, I was like, there's no
I think
way.
I pushed for a total of 20 minutes is what I ended up pushing. But they also like I got to get into a tub.
Yeah.
And I mean they had all of that stuff ready and my doula was there to help do
Yes.
certain positions to like help with the contractions. So she would
Hmm.
like do a back press and when
Yes.
her arms got tired, then Matt would switch in.
Hmm.
And so having that and having her talk me through it,
Yeah.
like everything was just that was
I
very, very
think
helpful.
that honestly might be one of my biggest regrets is not getting a doula because I
Yeah.
think having someone there to advocate for you that has
Yes.
seen a million births is so important when you haven't done it yourself before. So, like any of my expecting moms that listen, it is so valuable to have someone that understands what's happening. And even if they're not like let's say, super hippie. I'm just using that,
Well,
like, they don't have to be,
I
but they
think that's a
know that part.
misconception
I
though that
agree.
like doulas, if you're going to have a natural birth, like that's the only
Mhm.
way doulas will support you, and I don't think that's true
It's
at
not true at
all.
all. It's not true at all.
I think honestly if I could go back, one of my bigger regrets is with Tucker not
Mhm.
having a
I know.
doula. And I mean the one in Ohio was pretty cheap. I think I paid 400, five
Yeah.
hundred for her. And so I know that it would be more expensive in Houston, but honestly any amount of money that you spend on the doula, it's worth
I
it.
know.
I mean, you're gonna pay it to the hospital,
I
like, at
think
least pay it to someone who's,
but I
like,
feel
there
like
for you.
right, right, right. Whenever you're in the throes of pregnancy, like, everything is so expensive. You're already
Mhm.
shelling out so much money, and, like, we have good insurance. I think I still paid, like, $9,000 to
Yeah.
have fielding, like,
No, it's
it's
crazy.
not cheap, and I wish that I would have really thought about that. So if that's something you're considering, I would
If
get
you're
people to contribute to that for a
Yes.
baby shower gift,
It's an
something like that.
investment, but it's an investment for, like, your well-being and your
Mhm.
baby's well-being, and really your spouse's because,
Yeah.
like, the doula met with me beforehand, and she coached us both through, like, she
Yeah.
made Matt also feel,
Yeah.
equipped.
Yeah, because Matt's never done it either. That's the thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I got an IV was when I was pregnant. Like
Mhm.
I don't know anything about being in the hospital. So
Yeah.
to have someone there that kind of knows what's going on more, I think there's no amount of money that you shouldn't
Exactly.
spend for that. I regret that a lot.
Tell
Um
us about Phil. Old Phil, man.
yes.
Bubba's.
Yes, the reason why I will not be having any more children. No, not really. Well, Connor and I always joke that we said we'd have 0 to 1 kids, so we're on the high side by having one. So we're like, we're good because
Mission
of
accomplished.
course, like as soon as you give birth, like you literally, the baby has just come out of your body, and the first thing that everyone asks is, "When are you having another one?"
Yep.
And
Which, by the way, people, if you're listening to this, that is a question you don't ask anymore.
no,
You do not ask someone when they're having,
yeah,
and unless you're like obviously friends
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about it,
yeah,
but never should you like just in a conversation ask a woman like, "Oh, when are you having another
right,
kid?"
because you have no idea. And like for me, I don't take offense personally. I think it's more funny now, but like I
You're
can
good at making
imagine
light of things
well,
though,
but
and
like I can imagine if I was someone that like had gone through miscarriages or was
mhm.
struggling to conceive or whatever, like that I think that's the people that it's like shut your damn mouth.
Yes.
Quit asking them because
Yeah.
they don't whatever. Mine's by choice. Like I'm very blessed that that's my choice. But anyways, everyone has opinions about him being an only child, but
Well, but
he's
I
not
do
an only
like
child.
that you're vocal about it though,
Mhm.
because I mean, you're willing to say, like, no, we want one kid and
Mhm.
that's it. Like, you don't have to have a million excuses for it. You want
No.
one kid and that's it.
You feel like you have to have a million excuses because everyone is always like, "Oh, but really they need a sibling." And I'm like, I mean,
I mean, have you tried raising kids in today's world with
yeah, like
today's economy?
the
Do they
amount of
really
money.
need more
No,
siblings?
and like, sorry, Connor and I are such like, oh, we like a 2-on-1 defense. We have one dog, we have one kid. That's kind of how we like
Hmm.
to live our lives. And he basically has siblings with Addie and Tucker. I mean, dear God,
Yes,
they like don't know they're
exactly.
not
Yeah.
siblings. So we always joke about that, but it's yeah. So anyways, going into pregnancy, I always said this is going to be my
Hmm.
only pregnancy. With fielding, I was extremely sick almost immediately. I found out I was pregnant like I was so early, like 3 or 4 weeks
Yeah.
pregnant. Um, and I called Courtney, FaceTime Courtney. You found out before Connor.
I was in Austin at the time at my sister's baby
Baby shower,
shower.
yeah, for Gianna. And I was like, "Do you see lines on here?" Because it was like one of those cheapy pregnancy tests. And you were like, "Oh my God, there's a line!" So I'm like shaking. And funny enough, Matt had food poisoning, and you were in Austin, so we went and picked up Addie, and we had her for the day. And Addie was 2 at the time. She was a little bitty
She
nugget.
was
Actually,
little.
she wasn't even 2 yet.
Oh
She
yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
even 2 yet.
Almost two, but
And
yeah,
yeah,
she
and
wasn't
Connor
yet.
and I took her to like Home Depot because we were looking at something. She accidentally almost crushed herself with a dishwasher, the demo dishwasher. And Connor and I were like, we're not ready to be parents. And then I found out I was pregnant like 3 hours later. So
Joke's on
yeah.
you.
So, anyways, Addie was there whenever I told Connor I was pregnant, and Addie's like, "Why crying?" Like, because we're both just like happy crying because we were trying to get pregnant, but
I forgot that Addie was literally
no,
there.
Addie was literally in the room whenever I like came and brought Connor the pregnancy test.
I can't wait to tell her that when she's older.
Like you were there, girl. But I think I started getting sick at like 6 weeks pregnant, and I was sick until about 20 weeks.
And you were a little skeleton by the end of it. Like you
I
were just skin and
everyone
bones.
jokes. So I have a if you follow me on my personal Instagram, you know I'm a psycho about Twilight. Like I love posting Twilight memes and jokes. It just makes me really happy. But everyone by the end of my pregnancy, said I looked like Bella from Breaking Dawn Part 2 whenever she's literally,
No,
her
that's
back
the
breaks.
worst.
I know, I'm like, thanks, guys. You mean I don't have that pregnancy glow? No, because I'm gaunt and I'm dying.
Yeah. Everyone was like, "Are you okay? Like, your well-being,
I
are
was
you
so,
okay?"
well, I remember Lauren texting
Yes.
me and being like, is Emily all right? Like, she is so thin because
Yeah.
I lost 20 pounds my first trimester.
Mhm.
And I like could have lost a little bit of weight. We're a little fluffy back then. Not 20 pounds. Like, I'm 5'3", so 20 pounds on me is
Yeah.
a significant amount of weight. So I lost 20 pounds. I could not put it back on. So I had to start getting a bunch of growth ultrasounds and making sure he was okay. Little homie
I
was
mean, I
always
remember the
fine.
whole time they're like, "Oh, he's growing fine."
Yes.
They were worried about you because of
hmm
you trying to keep up with him. He was thriving in there.
At
There is
9,
no doubt about that.
no. At 9 weeks pregnant, I got so violently ill. I think I had food poisoning or like the norovirus, whatever. I mean, could not brush my teeth and keep the
Mm.
water down from brushing my teeth. I was so sick. So I had to go to the emergency room for that. I got IV fluids twice while I was pregnant because I was so sick.
Mhm.
And then I stopped throwing up at a certain point, but I had so many food aversions. So pretty much all I ate was a large fruit cup from Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
So again, I just like could not put on weight. Um, I wonder if you can hear it. If you can hear that on the mic, my child's yelping in the background. He's like, I did that shit. But so once I got like past the second trimester to the third, or well, I guess middle of second trimester to the third trimester, I was okay.
But
I
you
got
didn't have an appetite then,
no,
like,
I was
because
he was so big on my
and you had
body.
went so long, I think, without eating
Well, I
that
would,
your stomach just got
yeah,
used to
in
it.
the summer. So I found out I was pregnant May 28th of 2021. Yes, 2021. And that summer, since I was off from teaching, I was working summer school actually, and I just
Mhm.
sat in that summer school with a trash can in my lap,
Mm.
and the kids were probably like, "Is this lady on
I
drugs?"
remember that, yeah.
I was narcoleptic,
Mhm.
and I would eat 5 saltines a day. That's all I could stomach, and I would vomit it up. So that was horrible. And then by the end, at 34 weeks pregnant, I got COVID.
Yeah.
And I kept having to sit down. Like, I'd be out at I don't know. I remember my mom and I were at the mall, and I was like, I have to sit down right now because I'm so short of breath, and I
Mhm.
kept feeling like I was gonna pass out. And so, there's when you're pregnant, there's a lot of concerns with that, anyways. Like, is something pinching something or whatever?
Mhm.
So I went to the doctor. I like scheduled a appointment with my OB and went in, and she was like, "You have COVID." And I was like, "No, I don't."
Yeah.
She's like, "Yeah, you do. Go to labor and delivery." So I go to labor and delivery, have to get an IV.
I remember Connor not knowing what was gonna happen either, so he came home and, like, he stuffed a whole bag, right,
Yes.
full of, like,
Well,
random
so I'm 34 weeks, so I'm not full term yet. I call Connor sobbing because I'm
Mhm.
like, they're sending me to labor and delivery. And it was just like a normal checkup
But when you
situation.
hear go to labor and
Oh
delivery,
my
it's
God.
scary. You don't know
No,
what's
I was
going to
like, am I having this
happen.
baby today because I'm dying?
Yeah.
And then this was like still not the height of COVID, but still pretty close. So it was like
Yeah.
there was that concern of if they're going to separate me and the
Mhm.
baby if I'm positive for COVID, whatever. So, anyways, Connor came home. Connor was at work. I went to the doctor by myself. My parents went and got Connor and drove him to the hospital, but Connor literally packed our entire closet. He came with like
Didn't you say,
3
like,
bags.
full size, like, shampoo bottles
He
too,
brought my
or
liters of
Yes,
shampoo
yeah.
bottles. He brought me 5 bras. I'm like, where do you think we're going? Like, homie, I reuse these. I need maybe 2.
He
Like,
thought you guys were about to go to a resort in Mexico.
my mom laughed so hard because he was like just panicking. And I was like, I've never seen him sweat to this extent. Like,
Yeah.
he was stressing. And she looks at her and goes, "Get the mittens." And my mom's like, "What the fuck?" It was like 80 degrees outside. I'm like, what does he need mittens for?
That kid is not gonna scratch his face, that's
Uh-uh.
for sure.
No, so that freaked us
Get
out.
the mittens.
And like, again, Connor's super quiet. That is not like him. So he was tweaking. But he got to the hospital. They gave me like, I think magnesium and Finagrin or something. So I was like all turn up whenever he got there. I was like, my baby daddy's here. What's up? And I got discharged that night. It wasn't the end of the world. But then I had him at 39 weeks, my day after I finished working.
You went into labor on your own,
The
and
day after I finished working, I went into labor because
the
I
night
said,
before you
I'm doing
went
this.
to
Oh, yeah.
please.
Courtney's-
Let's get up to the days of
Courtney gets so mad at my decisions. I remember crying because they wouldn't induce me early, and I was like, I just want this baby out of me so bad.
well, and what the night before,
The night before I went into labor, we went and saw Tom Segura at in Sugarland, which
is
was
far.
2 hours from our hospital. Because it was like, we live kind of in the middle, like it's a triangle. We live at one point, Sugarland's at the other point, and the
Mhm.
other one's over there. So, yeah, we went to Tom Segura, and I was so pregnant. He was literally about to fall out of me, and the people sitting next to me were like, "Whoa, dude!" Like they were
You're like,
super
"Yeah,
high.
I'm supposed to be having this
Catch the
baby,
baby.
like, in a
Yeah.
couple days."
So, but we made it to Tom Segura. We did it. And then the next day, I was like, "The child's coming out of me right now."
Like, you were in labor, your, contractions were pretty close together.
Yeah, well, because I walked a mile and a half. I
Mhm.
was like, Connor, let's go. We're walking this baby out today. I'm curb walking. I'm bouncing on the
This is
yoga
the
ball.
only time you will find her.
Oh,
Back to our conversation
I
last
walked
week.
so much when I was
Yeah,
pregnant.
you walked a lot.
Because I was like, get out, get your
Mhm.
head down, and let's start dilating things. And
Yeah.
I was, it's kind of crazy now thinking that I went to Tom Segura. I was 3 centimeters dilated when I went.
Yeah, no, wild. Oh,
Like
but
I
let's not forget to mention.
Okay, so I I'm nervous laughing because you were Courtney doesn't get mad at me that often. She was mad. I
I did it with my sister too. It's
You did, yeah.
okay.
So I'm definitely in labor at this point, and I'm like, Is it? Is it not? I don't know." But I was
She's
like,
like, my contractions are like what, 4 minutes, 5 minutes
Mhm.
apart.
And we were going to the Woodlands anyways. I was like, "Let's just go to the Woodlands, and we'll just get checked real quick and see what's going on down there."
Let's
I
go
was
get
100% effaced at my last
no.
appointment, and I was 3 centimeters
Yes.
dilated at my last appointment. So, like, that was on Monday. I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
surely they're gonna induce me." This is Saturday, and they hadn't. So I was like, "Okay, whatever." My contractions, I'm timing them. I'm like, "Yeah, babe, like my contractions are a little close. Like, I think this might be it. I think we're doing this." But then I was like, "But let's stop and get some food first." So
They
we
stopped at BJ's.
BJ's Brew House, and they ate a full meal, and I'm like, "Wow, these contractions are close."
I'm texting you throughout the whole thing. I'm like, okay, hey, time your contractions. How close are you? And you're
Two and
like,
a half
they were
minutes.
literally 2.5 minutes. She goes, well, Connor just ordered a Pizookie. So once he gets done with that, we'll head to the hospital. And I would literally rage texting her, get to the hospital
For
now.
those of you that don't know, Pizookies are made to order, and they take like
Well, and
probably
also
10 to
like
15
Connor
minutes.
fiends for a Pizookie.
Oh
Like
my
he
god.
can't go to BJ's without getting a
We were
Pizookie.
not
We will
going
go
to
to
the
BJ's
hospital.
just to get a
Yes,
Pizookie.
we were not going to the hospital without him getting a Pizookie first. And I was like, "Wow, these contractions are real close." I mean, I think they were 2 minutes apart by the time I got to the hospital. So yeah, Courtney was like, "Get out of that damn restaurant. Get to the
But then
hospital
how
right
long
now."
by the time you went to the hospital, you checked in, how long did it take you to have filled from that time of checking in?
Like right under 12 hours.
Okay. See, and that's what sucks about it though. You're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, it's so close," and then you're still in the hospital. So, can I blame you now for eating a full course meal and a Pizookie?
No.
No. At the time, I was
No.
a little stressy.
No.
So,
Yeah, and that's fair. I got to the hospital at I think we got there around like 8:30 or 9, and I was 4 centimeters dilated, and I was like, "So could I go?" Or and they were like, "No," and I was like, I literally asked the nurse because I think I was in denial, like, "So am I gonna like have this baby?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're not leaving the hospital without your baby outside of your body," and I was like, "But like,
so what you're
so you're,
telling me
so
is there's still a chance.
is this real? Am I gonna?" And so, anyways, I went into labor naturally. Water broke naturally. But Fielding was sunny side up, which means
Yeah.
he was face up. And I will spare some of the details maybe, but I had an epidural. If you don't know, if you've never given birth before, I think a lot of people think that epidurals are like a shot in your back, and they're more of an IV. Like there's a catheter that goes with the epidural. So, for whatever reason, well, the anesthesiologist told me whenever he was placing my epidural, like, "Oh, you're so thin, you're so thin, you're so thin."
Mhm.
And again, Bella from Twilight, like emaciated, and I was like, "Thanks, dude. Like, thanks so much."
He's like, "No, actually, this is making my job very hard."
Yeah, so I thought he was complimenting me, because I'm just, like, fiending for compliments at all times, and he was actually like, "No, bitch, like, there's nothing to hold this catheter in
It's
there."
funny because mine, just with Tucker, just told me that I have scoliosis, which was news to me. So he goes, "Has anyone ever told you you have scoliosis?" I was like,
Nope.
"Nope." And I've been to about 10 chiropractors. No one's ever said that before.
Amazing.
And yours is complimenting you.
Anesthesiologist thoughts well, he wasn't complimenting me, he was more like, "Bitch, you're emaciated." So anyways, my catheter ended up sliding out of my back while I was in labor. So if you have never had an epidural, they put like a giant Band-Aid with plastic wrap on your back, I guess to keep the area sterile or whatever. And mine was just filling up with fluid every time I pressed the button because I was like, "I'm in a lot of pain." And they kept telling me, "It's not pain, it's pressure." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I've never had a baby before, but this feels like it really hurts. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think this is what's supposed to
They're
happen
not
with an
believing you,
epidural."
and this is where like a doula
Yeah.
would come in handy for cases where these doctors are and nurses like sometimes now not to shade on because your sisters are nurses like I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah,
shading
yeah.
on that but like sometimes because they're not experiencing it they're not believing you and I
Well,
think it's especially like the male doctors who
Yes.
don't
I will
can't
say
comprehend it.
my first nurse, don't remember her name. I would spit on her face if I saw her.
Yeah.
She was
Those are some
sorry.
strong feelings you have.
I'm angry at her because she was just like, just labor down. Like it was nighttime, so I think she just was like trying to chill. And I was like, no, like I'm
Yeah.
like they didn't check me for an hour, and I was a 4 when I came in, and I was a 7 by the time they checked me again.
That's
And I was like,
wild.
I need
That
an epidural,
yeah.
because once you get to a certain point, you can't get one. And so
Yeah.
I was like, so I didn't get my epidural placed, so I was a 7 centimeters dilated. Um, and so, anyways, my epidural slides in my back. I'm in a lot of pain. At that point, it's too late. I was like 9 centimeters dilated when that happened. So they couldn't replace my epidural because the contractions were causing too much movement. Whatever. Do I hear a kid crying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Tucker just going, "Ah!"
So, basically, I did it sort of unmedicated, but I'm sure there was a little bit of epidural still left. Like I could walk as soon as I had him. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
There was no taking the epidural out and wearing off. They had to recatheter me after he was born when I had no numbing.
Oh my God.
No, it was, and the catheters were like the things that I was most stressed out about. But when you're numb, it doesn't matter. When you're not numb,
Yeah.
what an experience.
Well, and let's mention your tailbone too.
Oh yes. So fielding, like I said, was I keep on wanting to say breech. He was sunny side up, which means he was face up outside like an egg. He would not turn. So I pushed for about 3.5 hours because I couldn't get him past my pelvic bone. Like his head, because their heads and your pelvis are designed for them to come out face
Yes.
down. That's just how like nature designed it. Fielding said, no, thank you. The oppositional defiance was there
I would
from
like
day
to
one.
make it the hard way around.
He
Please.
says, is this going to be the easy way or the hard way? And he said, the hard way, please. They told me that he had a lot of hair 3 hours before he was born. He was just prairie dogging, which was disgusting. Connor's like, I've seen his head. And he had an alien head to match. That thing was a
Yeah. Because it
hone.
just curves right there to that. It's
So,
it gets
anyways,
sculpted.
what finally got him out, the nurse said, we're going to bring in the vacuum. My stepmom is a NICU nurse, and she was like, do not let them vacuum. We see a lot of kids that have like skull fractures, and then they can get
Scary.
brain bleeds. Like it's a very scary thing. So I said they were going to get the vacuum, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had a pretty
Bella
painful
from
labor.
Twilight came out.
Literally, I was passing out between contractions. I was trying not to throw up. Connor's like crying because he's like, I
Yeah.
kept telling him I'm gonna die. And then what finally happened is that my tailbone broke, and that's how
Oh God!
it broke and
Like
dislocated.
I know that it happened, but it still shoots pain.
It
through me.
was the craziest experience. I had so much adrenaline at that point, and like I think I was just like having an out of body experience.
real.
So Connor and I both heard it break, like it, and it sounded like a hip popping, like kunk, big sound. And so we were both like, "What the fuck?" And then afterwards, I was like, "Wow, my ass really hurts."
Yeah.
But you know, as soon as you have the baby, they literally are like, "All right, girl, let's go,"
Yep.
and they make you walk to the bathroom, and then they like
And you're like,
salami wrap
"No,
your
my butt's broken."
yeah.
Literally.
No. So I had my butt crack was black for like months. Like
You also had to sit on a donut. You also
I
we were
still sit on a
driving. We
donut.
were road tripping for an hour to go see Claire the other day,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Hey, hand that to me. It's your donut pillow." I'm like, "Girl,
It still hurts.
he's
to
over
drive.
2.
It still hurts to
Yeah,
drive. Yeah,
but there's
so,
no way to fix it. Like you just
no.
live with it."
I went to physical therapy. I was probably 2 months postpartum, and they were like, "Okay, yeah. So first, we're gonna have to do a rectal exam to assess the damage." And I said,
You're not
"Deuces,
touching that.
bye. See you never."
Well, like after the trauma's been done to it, you're
No.
not touching
And basically, the options were like fix your whole life, like how you stand and how you walk and whatever, and maybe that'll help, or surgically remove your tailbone.
Yeah, not happening. No,
I'm
especially
good.
when you have a newborn too.
Yeah,
that's the last
good-
thing you're thinking of.
Goodbye. So I was on Norco for a
Yeah.
hot minute. Don't really remember the first month of that guy's life.
Yeah,
Oops.
it is what it is.
Oops. So that was.
I mean, even without medication, you don't really remember it because
Yeah.
you're in just such a
I was turned
whirlwind.
up. But honestly,
yeah.
my tailbone was worse than like. I mean, sorry if this is gross. You got it if you're a guy. Vaginally, like that was so eclipsed by the tailbone situation.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a weird view of it because like that part wasn't horrible to
Yeah.
me. The tailbone part was god awful.
Yeah. It just depends on how they come out. Like with Addie, the healing was awful, but then with Tuck,
Really? That's
it
so funny because
was.
some people say like when it's unmedicated, you heal better.
Yeah, not.
But
for
Addie
me.
came out with her little fist by her
Yeah,
face.
so Addie came out with literally fist up, which describes her personality.
Yep.
And I tore because of that. Sorry for, our
What's
dads if they're
up?
watching.
Yeah,
this.
sorry, Dad. I told my dad. Oh, I will say the worst thing that's ever happened to me. This isn't the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but so my doctor, who I loved, did not deliver Fielding because it was on the weekend. It wasn't her weekend. She was on call. When I tell you, Father Time delivered my son. I when I remember that moment, I swear he walked in on a walker. Like, he was like the guy from Up. Like, I think his walker had tennis balls on
I had one similar, and
it.
he's the
So
one that
old.
came in and to Addie and was like, "Hey, so we're gonna break your water right now," and
Yeah.
I trusted him, and
Good
I
luck.
shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So
So he came in and he was fine. I mean, the doctor, if you haven't given birth before, the doctor's in there for 1 second. They
oh
literally catch the baby and then leave.
yeah,
And when he was doing my stitches, because I had a second-degree tear, I asked Connor over and over again, did I poop? Did I poop? Did I poop? Did I poop? And I was like, I'm pooping. I know what's happening. But it was, I didn't. And I even told the nurse, like, I don't want to know
yeah.
anymore.
Hmm.
Just don't tell me anything. She's like, you didn't poop. You're good. Something about this is so vulgar. I'm so sorry, everyone. Something about the way I was in the stirrups and when he was doing my stitches, the
Hmm.
amount of gas that was coming out of my ass.
He's used to it.
And
Right?
I was like, I'm so
It's
sorry.
because of your broken
I was
tailbone.
no, no, no. We can't blame it on anything. I was crying because I was mortified. Like, I have never been. And the crazy thing, one thing I'll say about birth is that people don't tell you is that you are, I mean, spread wide open,
Yeah, with Addie,
and people are walking. Oh,
apparently, I forgot to mention this. So with
terrible.
Addie, apparently I accidentally signed a release form that said that medical students could come in and watch me, and because I was an unmedicated birth and I literally sounded like a banshee, everyone came to watch. All of these medical students who are probably 20, they were way
Oh,
younger than me.
scarred.
They're in there with their notepads, taking notes on me
This bitch is
as I'm
crazy.
literally going, "Ah!" like literally yelling at the top of my lungs, and they're like I'm a zoo animal. I felt like a chimpanzee. Like they're just taking notes. They're the
See,
scientists.
and it's funny that your doula or doctors let you like scream. Mine kept telling me not to make noise.
What?
Were they just?
Excuse
They
me?
were like, when you make noise, it's not productive. You need to keep the noise in. I'd be like, but I have to.
No. I mean, my doula had said like do when you're contracting, you do like a low groan, like a
Oh
weird
no.
groan. But obviously, it comes to a point like you don't have any control over
They were
that.
like, don't hold your breath. Keep pushing, but also don't make noise. And I was like,
They're like, shut your mouth.
Literally, like, shut up, bitch. Which we'll have to ask Connor, but I don't think I was that loud
That's
at any
crazy.
point.
So you're having to just like no wonder you had so much air caught up and it all came out your butthole.
It was
You
all.
couldn't yell.
I know. That's the longest I've ever been without talking. Jesus. Okay. Sorry, Tucker. You get the short end of the stick. Go ahead, Tuck.
I know. So with Tucker, it's funny because I called you before I
Tell
had
us
even
where.
told Matt.
Tell us where you found out you were pregnant.
Well, I called you that morning because I was like, hey, like I just took a random test and because I was a little bit late, like 2 days late, and we hadn't started trying yet. We were about to start trying, but not yet. And with Addie, we had to try for about 6 months, and so I just wasn't expecting it. And you're like, hey, yeah, I think that's a pink
You
line.
pregnant,
So
girl.
it's like freaking out a little bit. And so I took a test at Walmart and then like at
And
Walmart.
FaceTimes me from the Walmart
From
bathroom.
the Walmart neighborhood
Shaking.
market. I'm because I couldn't wait. I was like, I have a 20-minute drive still home. I have
I
to
know.
know right now. And so I called you and Matt was out of town. And so I decided to like keep it as a surprise to him. So that's why I called you
Yeah.
first. But it's funny because I'm like, I found out truly about you in a Walmart bathroom.
Poor Tuck.
And
Our little
I
Walmart
was pretty
baby.
sick with him as well. But your girl didn't lose any weight, unfortunately. I just like stay the
You're
same
not
for a
supposed
while.
to. It's okay.
No, but like if you're gonna go through that, I'm like, if I was gonna be sick like that,
I think
please, for the love of God, let me
everyone
lose
felt
weight.
that way with me. They were like, you're skinnier than you've ever been.
Yeah.
I was skinnier than my wedding weight after
Yeah.
giving birth. When I left the hospital, I weighed 120 pounds.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so
Not anymore, girl.
God didn't work in my favor in that way. Of I was sick, but I just didn't lose weight. But unlike you, I think I tried to keep eating, and that just wasn't the answer.
Mm-mm.
So, anyways, I'm just gonna fast forward to the birth because this took me a very long time to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a very long time to process. He was almost a Christmas baby. He was born December 22nd, and so
Of 22. Him and Fielding were born the same year.
yes.
So his is 12, 22, 22.
My
Cutest birthday
my
ever.
plan was originally like I just want Matt in the room. That's it. This is my second one. It's going to be easy. I was having to be induced. They went ahead and induced me at 39 weeks just because my doctor had advised me if you go to 40 weeks there is more chance of something being wrong just in
Mhm.
general. Like there wasn't anything wrong with my
Yeah.
pregnancy. So I trusted her and chose to get induced. And I ended up calling my aunt and my grandma the night before I was getting induced. And I was crying. I'm like, I'm actually really scared. I need y'all to come. Like,
Yeah.
because they had asked me, please, like, let us help,
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, no, I've got it. I'm an independent woman. I got it. I have Matt, blah, blah, blah. And then I call them, please. And so then they had to
Get down
drive
here.
overnight instead of planning it ahead. They had to drive, from Oklahoma to Houston. And they got in really like early in the morning, but came straight to the hospital. I ended up being in labor with Tucker after getting induced. I was in labor with him for 23 hours, and it was horrible because I couldn't drink any water. They wouldn't let me have ice chips because I was at the point where they were talking C-section because I
Because he was
wasn't progressing.
decelling. You weren't progressing, and he was having a hard time in
So
certain
they kept
positions, right?
having to flip me over back and forth because his heart rate would just drop down. Like
Mhm.
they were saying something's wrong. We just don't know
Mhm.
what it is. It's
Mhm.
like how he's laying on his umbilical cord or
And you love
whatever.
to hear that from medical professionals.
Yeah,
Makes you
we
feel
don't know
really
what's
good.
going on, but we know something's wrong.
There's a problem here.
Thank you.
We're
Thank
gonna
you for
wait it
that.
out.
So they even had the heart rate monitor that like went up into
Mhm.
everything. That way it could get directly on his head. I think it
Yeah.
because it stuck him.
Yeah.
Like it was like little bitty pinches on his head to like stick him for the heart monitor while he was still in me.
Oh God.
And so 23 hours later, Tuck Tuck was born, but he came out and he was not breathing at
Mhm.
all. And when I tell you that was the scariest, probably 3 minutes of my life that
Mhm.
felt like 13 hours,
Yeah.
it was like something I still have a hard time processing because
Oh.
Matt was like, "Hey, I'm catching this baby too. He's
Mhm.
my little football." And so Matt's in there. We have pictures of him coming out, Matt catching him, and this also took me a very long time to even look at pictures from his
Mhm.
birth. And he was blue because he had no oxygen,
Mhm.
and umbilical cord wasn't wrapped or anything. I think that we had a really hard labor together, and that took a toll on
Yeah.
him. My body was very stressed, and that stressed him. And so they took him over to the little bed they put them
Mhm.
in, and they started doing. Matt knows all of the like
Like chest
nerves.
compressions.
Yeah, basically they gave him CPR.
Yeah.
They were like, and I'm screaming the whole time, like, what? Why is my baby not crying? Why is my baby not crying? Like over and over, and no one was answering me at the time. And later they apologized. They're like, "I'm sorry, we didn't answer.
Yeah.
We were like we were just doing everything we could." And I mean, he ended up just fine and just healthy, but it is one of the scariest
Ugh.
things I've ever been
You're gonna make
through.
me cry.
Um, sorry.
Whew.
I wasn't even planning on
Well,
sharing
it's
all of
hard.
this, but I just want people to know, like, it's okay if your birth isn't like what you imagine because it wasn't at all with Tucker. And like, I had this beautiful baby that I was like so thankful for, but we ended up spending 3 days in the NICU. And I kept thinking, like, my God, it could have been so much worse. Like, there are babies that we were in the NICU with that had been there for
Mhm.
6 weeks. And I'm so grateful, but that was the hardest thing Matt and I have ever been through as a
Mhm.
couple, of having your baby in the NICU monitored for their breathing, because his oxygen, he couldn't catch his breath.
Mhm.
Like, he was having oxygen problems the whole time, and that like definitely tested our strength in each other.
Yeah.
Like, it showed us the strength in each other. I guess it didn't test
Yeah.
it because like we relied on each other fully during that. But and now he like runs around and is
He's
like
totally
totally fine. It's
totally
just hard
fine.
to think like he had such a hard start to life.
I
I
know.
will say though, he's always had like a lot of like
Respiratory.
respiratory
Mhm.
issues, and I do think that that's connected to his
Yeah, I
birth.
think so too.
So
I really think so
yeah,
too. God, that was terrible.
maybe he should have went first.
Literally. Tucker, rude. Well, I was in
Oh.
the room with you for a little bit when you were in labor, and I had just given birth 11 months before. So
Mhm.
I was like, I want to catch this baby too. Like I was I there was
Matt, I will fight you for this position.
there was a moment in time where my sisters were like, Emily's going to go back to college and be a labor and delivery nurse, because I was like,
Yes.
this was
No,
amazing.
it gets you into it where you're like,
It's
I'm
so
gonna be a
cool.
doula.
It's so cool. And then you were just like uncomfortable. This was very early. Like I think I went
Mhm.
up to the hospital around like lunchtime, and you didn't have him till the next morning. And I laughed about it because I didn't tell you this until like a few months ago. But yeah, I was like, yeah, you kicked me out of the room, and you're like, I did what? I'm like, you were like, I'm done now. You can leave. And I was like,
I'm so
no, you don't have to apologize.
I
It
did
was,
not know
but I was
that,
like
though.
here for the long haul. Like I'm like, I've got someone watching fielding. Like I'm here. And Courtney goes, I would like it to just be Matt and I now. Goodbye. And I was like,
After you were like, "What do you need?" And I was like, "Oh, water." And you brought me something else. Like you brought stuff
No,
for
it
me
was
too.
fine.
And
It
I'm like,
was
"Oh, thanks for driving 45
no,
minutes."
I was there for probably an hour. So it was fine. I was just so excited. And I was like, okay, this
Yes.
isn't about you, Emily. Like, get the fuck out of here. But I was like, I'm gonna be in here. I want to be here while she gives birth. And I'm like, thank God I wasn't, because I would not have been able to emotionally handle seeing you guys in that. Like
Yeah.
I would have made the
Well, my
situation
aunt was
worse.
like, I think planning on being in the room too, but she and I mean, we had him in the middle of the night, well, early in the morning, and so she was like asleep, and I think she was disappointed because I didn't call her. But I was like, no, like honestly, it
Honestly,
worked out that it was
yeah.
just Matt and I. Like we had that moment to. Where we had to both, decompress from it afterwards and everything. And so, man, what a wild ride these kids are. Thanks for
Big
listening
facts.
to our birth stories because I
Yeah.
know it's kind of long, but it's crazy that how different each birth can
Hmm.
be. That even whenever, I mean, with Tuck, like I was more relaxed, but going into like getting ready for labor, I was eating prunes every
Hmm.
day. I was drinking the pregnancy tea.
Pineapples.
I
I
was
was
eating
pounding
pineapple. I
pineapples.
was bouncing on the ball. I was like doing everything that says like, oh, this will help.
Hmm.
And both my kids just like wanted to stay inside of me forever.
And
So
I think that is truly how they are still now. I mean,
yes, it
which is
makes
funny.
sense.
We joke about Fielding like being so attached to me, but he was like, I feel like my stuff, I got pregnant very easily and I went
Hmm.
into labor very easily.
Yes, you did.
But like my pregnancy parts, we were like opposite in that way. Like
Hmm.
if Fielding had just turned the right way, I think I could have gotten him out so quick and
Yes,
it would
I
not have been a
agree.
big deal. It's just funny, like, because I dilated, and I remember with Tucker, you were so mad because they were like, "You're maybe half a
Oh, I
centimeter,"
was
and
so
you called me
disappointed.
crying. I'm only half a centimeter dilated, and then I was like calling you. I'm like, this baby's about to fall out of me. I'm
I
3 centimeters, and they're
know.
like, "Go home," and I was like, "What the? Go home? I could have this kid in my shower." Like, and it's just
Yes.
funny. I'm glad we weren't pregnant at the same time because that would have been
Yeah. Well,
hard to not compare.
yes, yes, and I think just naturally, like, that would have
Oh
happened,
yeah.
but, thankfully, you were able to just, like, walk me through, like, all of the emotional
Well, it's just
stages of
yeah.
getting those weekly checks, and you can actually
Yes.
turn those down. Fun fact, I have a friend, she does doula she's a doula on the side, and, she's, like, very holistic and stuff, and she, sometimes turns down, like, the
Oh really?
weekly checks to see the dilation, like, they still
Hmm.
check on the heart rate
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
stuff, but as far as because she's like, "It just stresses me out," so
Well,
I turn
and
it down.
I will say they were like, "We don't have to check you," and I was like, "Get in there,"
No, because I
because
wanna
I want to
know.
know. I
Yes,
cannot
no, I'm
handle.
the same
I would have gone
way.
twice a week if I could have. I'd be like,
Yes.
"Actually, I think I'm leaking. Can you go ahead and check?" I was at the
Yes.
doctor all the time. Hunter's
Yeah.
like, "How many times are you going to drive to the Woodlands?" I'm like, "I need to know what's going on in there." But yeah, every birth is so different, and I think one like takeaway from hearing all these things is that we have these like beautiful, amazing, wonderful kids.
Yes.
And even if pregnancy is super hard, even if your birth is hard, even if it's stressful, like the gift of having your child, there is no, I would
Mhm.
go through all of it again in a
Yep.
heartbeat
Yep.
to have
Exactly.
my kid. So, and I would go through it all again for you to have your kids.
Thank you.
You have to go through it again, not me. But
Yes, yes.
either way, it's
No,
all, I
yeah.
mean, I think I was so scared for so many years to be pregnant and to go through all that. And there was like one day where I had a dream that I was giving birth and I woke up and I was like, I'm ready now. I'm feel
Mhm.
zen.
Mhm.
And it's as terrible as you think it's going to be, but it's also as beautiful. It's more beautiful than you can imagine. And there is nothing in this world like having your kids. Like,
Yeah.
and the first moment you get to hold them is just like the most
Yeah.
amazing. Like the love you feel is
Mhm.
just I can't even express it. And I wasn't even someone that felt super connected to him when I was pregnant. Like I like
Mhm.
loved him and didn't want anything bad to happen to him. But I'm like, who are you, bro? I don't know
And
you.
some people are completely like that.
Yeah.
That's also very normal if you're
Hmm.
like kind of have that
Like
block up a
disconnect.
little
And I
bit.
think
Yeah.
I was feeling like angry at life because I was so sick. And so I was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
I don't even know you, homie. And you've been like
I think when
ruining my
you've had like
life.
a hard pregnancy or a hard birth, like it is hard
Hmm.
to it takes some
Yeah.
time.
But then as soon as he was born, I will say, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
I really like you. You
Yes.
can stay with me.
Yes,
And he
I
was just
know.
so cute. He made his little dirt bike noises and he was so jaundiced. He looked like a Simpsons
Oh,
character. I
buddy.
know, my little boo. But yeah, okay, what would you want people to know that have not had kids yet? What would be your advice for them?
Well, if you're wanting to have kids and, just like the birth process or whatever, just advocate for yourself and know that, like if you're currently pregnant, and you're thinking ahead to that, like your nurses are there for you, and most of them truly do want to do what's best in
Yeah.
your interest, but sometimes you also have to advocate for yourself and for your medical rights. And don't be afraid to do that, because it's
Yeah.
something that I'm always afraid of speaking up or like hurting someone's feelings. But something you reminded me of is like, no, like you're paying that hospital a
Mhm.
pretty penny.
They work
Like
for
they
you
work for
essentially.
you in that
Mhm.
way. And so just don't be afraid to for your spouse or you to advocate for what you
Yeah.
need when you're there.
Yeah.
And all throughout your pregnancy too, like,
Yeah.
and pay attention to the forms you sign, or you might have a bunch of medical students just peeking in.
Literally. And yeah, I would say definitely if you have a partner, whoever's going to be there for your birth, educating them too, because that was like
Hmm.
a thing for me. Like, I wanted Connor to know what I wanted, because in the event that I'm not able to speak for myself, like,
Yeah.
you need to know. And Connor was an amazing
Hmm.
support person. Like you said, Matt was too. I feel like I didn't share enough that Connor was super helpful, but
No, you said he cried, which
he
means, I
did cry.
mean,
That's like the
means that
most
he was very
emotion.
emotionally invested.
Yes, he was very emotionally invested. He was, like, putting my hair up the whole time, giving me water, giving me my barf bag. We
Yes,
were just, like,
it's
going
like
through it.
it just kicks in for them of
Yeah,
like
yeah, and
it's go
he
mode.
he, like, was advocating for me as much as he possibly could, but, another resource I would really, really recommend, if you're
Oh,
going to have a
yes.
baby, if you're planning on getting pregnant, if you are currently pregnant, is Mommy Labor Nurse. I
She's
took her
on
course.
Instagram, but she also has courses you can
Yes,
buy.
yeah, and you can buy her courses through Instagram. I bought her course and used her birth plan to bring to the hospital with me, and she is so good at giving you information just about, like, what even can happen, what the Foley bulbs are, and what a
Well,
catheter
and with
does, and
her program, she has all different options. Like if you want a natural birth or if you want a medicated birth, like she has plans for
or
all of
she
those,
even has
right?
one, I think, for, like, if you don't know which one you wanna do.
Yeah.
She's got that, but I went in with the birth plan, and it's questions that you don't even think to,
Mhm.
like, that you wouldn't even know, especially if you've never had a kid. Do you wanna delay cord clamp or cord cutting? Do you
Yeah.
want to, delay the first bath? Do you want skin to skin immediately? Do you want da 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 da? Da? It's all these things that it's like, oh,
Mhm.
I would have never thought, and
Yeah.
it's good for you to know those are things you need to think about.
Mhm.
So, I highly, highly, highly recommend her
Yeah, that
course.
is a good resource I forgot
Yeah,
about.
but okay,
All right, I think that about sums it up. That was kind of a heavy one, and
wow,
so I'm ready to go eat some dinner and
literally,
spend some time with our little miracles.
our little assholes. I mean,
Our little
miracles.
gremlin miracles.
Yeah, I said it's amazing, but I just flew with a toddler twice in one weekend. So, oh my God, they're
They're
beating
about to
down the
beat in
door.
the door.
Okay, well, we love you. Cheers to that,
Bye.
and see you later.
Cheers to
Mwah.
that.